Hey guys, it's me, Winner Papa, and I want to explain a little bit more about that awesome feature in 3Commas called Smart Sell. Smart Sell is basically the Gemini twin of SmartTrade. The main difference is that Smart Sell sells something you already have. 3Commas allows you 4 different options to manage your trades in the trading terminal. Smart Sell is one of these features, and it is often overlooked and often misunderstood, and that's why I want to shine some light on this and make it super crystal clear for you guys so there's no doubt in your mind what this thing does and how you can benefit from it. So let me give you an example of why you want to use Smart Sell instead of the Buy Sell tab. Let's say that you have referred 3Commas to your friends and family. Yay! And your friends and family like it. Yay! And they paid for a subscription. What happens? You actually get a kickback. You get a percentage or a commission on those sales, which is awesome. And once you pass $50 in your commissions, then you can write 3Commas and say, hey, I would like to withdraw my referral funds. And after you've passed that $50 mark, they're going to say, great, tell us your US Tether receiving address. And once you have that, send it to them. Then some time passes and they get back to you and they say, hey, the transfer's done. So now you have 50 US Tether that you didn't have before. That's really cool. But what do you do with that? Do you just use the Tether and keep it? No. I mean, you could. Do you use the Tether to buy X, Y, and Z? Yes. But what if you want to trade up your Tether? Or what if you want to buy something and you see, I see some value in this? This is where it's going to work really well. So let's say that you want to keep your Tether, but you want to trade it up. Just entertain me, okay, for the purposes of this example. So you have $50 US Tether, you want to turn it into 55. You can do it. You can totally do it with 3Commas Smart Sell, and I'm going to show you how now. Here I am on SmartTrade looking at the trade terminal. You can see I have the 4 tabs here: Buy Sell, Smart Trade, Smart Sell, Smart Cover. Again, these two are so identical, and I want to demystify this right now. Smart Trade uses the quote currency of a market. This is the Bitcoin market, and I'm looking at Litecoin. What this means is that I can use Bitcoin to buy Litecoin, and then I can establish where I want to take profit, if I want to use trailing, stop loss, all that good stuff. The end result of this will be more Bitcoin. I will profit and make more Bitcoin using SmartTrade. Everything goes back there to Bitcoin because that's the market that I'm in. I'm using Bitcoin. The price of Litecoin goes up. I sell that increased price of Litecoin, thus making me more Bitcoin. Got it? Smart Sell, like I said before, is very similar, except Smart Sell requires you to have the base currency first. And I'm using these terms base and quote currency because these are the terms that are established with the 3Commas trading bots. And if you haven't used them before, just a real quick explanation. The currency on the left is your quote currency, the market currency. The currency on the right is your base currency. So now with Smart Sell, I can only use the base currency that I already have. I know I made an example about US Tether. So sorry, I actually have Litecoin that we're going to use for this example, but the same principle applies. What this means is that I'm going to use this Litecoin here. I'm going to establish how much I want to use, whether it's the full max amount or some ridiculous number. 3Commas can handle it. But let's just use round numbers because that looks a lot nicer. The next thing I have to do is I have to establish at which price I originally bought Litecoin. Now I can click here for the current price, but what if I received it 3 hours ago? Then I can click on this trading view box and I can go to the chart and check it out on the daily and see, okay, I bought it 3 hours ago when it was 14204. So we'll just say that in general, 14204. The next step is to figure out at which price do I want to sell. Right now, Litecoin looks like it's trending down. It doesn't look too positive right now. But you know what? It's actually on the lower part of the Bollinger Band, so I think I want to trade it up to this mark. So I want to see if I can trade it up here. So I want to see if I can make 13% on this. So then I'm going to type in 13%, which is 160,502, 160. There we go, 5373. That's just about there. I'm not sure if it's going to hit that. So I'm just going to use 10%. Note that when I use percentage values, it gives me this really funny number that I probably would not have come up with myself. Humans like round numbers. It's way easier to sell something at round numbers like 15, 16, 17. But in reality, in trading, you want to use strange numbers because most people aren't going to sell at a strange number like this. It's going to give you a 10% return either way. So I encourage you to use this percentage slider because it's going to give you some funny numbers. You have a couple of options here in Smart Sell with the take profit function. The first one is that right now we're set on default to a market order. And what this means is that you have one Litecoin and there aren't enough people to buy it when you do that market sell. What does that mean? It means when the price is going up and 3Commas knows that, you've hit this price and you wanted to sell at a market sell right there. So that market sell is going to sell. And then that price might fall a little bit. And we call that slippage. Slippage is when the price is sold, but you lose a little bit because it's a market order and it's not getting all filled at that exact price that you were hoping for. And that's normal. It's okay with market sells, and especially if a small amount. If you have 1,000 Litecoin that you're trying to sell, you probably shouldn't use a market order. You're going to want to use a limit order. And that's the other option here. A limit order will give us a finite price. With this 10% established at 0.0156240, I am not taking anything above or below that price. It is fixed. It is static. It's not going anywhere. This is a great way to ensure that you get that price out of the bots, out of the trades. So you're going to use limit orders when you have a large amount or when you're trading on a low volume chart. Litecoin is not a low volume chart, so there's no reason to worry right there. The next option we have is split targets. I'm going to zoom out my browser just a little bit so you guys can see this. So I can now establish up to 4 parts of my sell with any percentage that I want. I know this isn't perfect, but I wanted to show you this on purpose. It's always going to equal 100% because it has to. I've set my different cells at different percentages, and there should be a rhyme and a reason to this. I just chose numbers to fulfill an example. So don't just do what I did and take this as this is the way to do it. It's just an example. But what it does is instead of me selling all of my one Litecoin, which won't be a problem on this chart, but if it were a low volume chart, by using split targets and limit cells, I can divide my whole order up into 4 parts, reducing the size at each take profit point, which won't affect the order book in a negative way. It won't upset the market, and I'll most likely get filled on every single step, depending on the size. So this is a great way to take advantage of Smart Sell already. It's better than the simple buy sell tab. Note that you can use market orders as well for these split targets. So why the difference? Why are there limit orders? Why are there market orders? Well, I'll tell you why. Because of trailing take profit. Even without these, we can still use trailing take profit with a market order. Note that when I choose limit order, I have a pop-up saying trailing works only with market orders. What is trailing? I have a really awesome GIF that I'm going to pop up right here. This is what trailing take profit does. It's pretty amazing, right? So the reason it has to be a market order is because as the price moves up, that set deviation percentage amount, and in this case, it's by default set to 5%. It goes up 5%, goes up 5%, goes up 5%, goes up 5%, and then finally when it goes down 5%, boom, we're done. So we can set this trailing deviation percentage to anything. However, it would make the most sense to use a number less than your take profit amount. I stick to about 10% of the volume here. So if I am trying to sell 10%, then setting trailing to 1% is safe. I want to also bring your attention to something here. This deviation percentage is set by default with a -%. I like this because it's a constant reminder that trailing, while it's really awesome, could also mean that your trade closes below 10%. What if the price moved up 10%? Then 3Commas says, okay, 10% is reached, trailing is enabled, but the price moves right back down. Then you would lose that 1% when the trailing is enabled. It's just the risk you take for getting more. With that said, this doesn't happen as often to me. Usually it's 10%, 11, 12, 13, 12, so I get an extra 2%, something like that. That's how it usually works, which is great. It's nice to get that extra percentage. Going back to split targets, I can add my 4 targets, whatever percentages they are, as wild as those ones looked. The cool thing is that I can now use limit order with split targets. The only difference now is that trailing will be used only on the last target. Which target is the last target? It's the highest priced one, and it's right here at the top. So what does that mean? That means that when I sell a quarter of my stack at that price, quarter of my stack at the next price, quarter of my stack at the next one, then when the top one comes, the bot switches it to a market order. It's pretty clever. So then when I'm up 107%, I think it was, then it's going to enable trailing at 5%. And since I've already taken my profits, 75% of my profits already, I can risk 5% on that 107% mark. So it's a really nice feature. It's a really nice function. I invite you to explore and experiment with it with small amounts and see how it works for you. The next feature I want to talk to you about is stop loss. Stop losses are a smart trader's tool. Lots of people don't like using them for reasons like, the coin went right up after my stop kicked in, or, I don't want to use stop losses because I get losses and I don't want to have those, and you only take a loss when you sell. Both are true, but you want to be protective of what you already have. You want to protect your gains. You want to protect your portfolio. So using a stop loss is actually a really good idea. You can use a market order or a limit order, and it works the same way. You can use a 10% market order stop loss, meaning when it goes 10% down, it's going to do a market sell, meaning it's going to sell to the highest buyer, the highest bidder. Limit orders will, again, make sure that you only sell at that set price. So there's the benefit there. There's a really cool function down here called stop loss timeout. Stop loss timeout is indispensable. What this does is at a set interval based in minutes, if the price suddenly shoots down and activates your stop loss, but stop loss timeout is enabled, your stop loss won't trigger. That is, as long as the price is not down there for longer than your prescribed amount of time. 5 minutes is more than enough. Usually these drops in prices due to market sells or panic sells like that happen and they're just a flash crash or a fat finger drop and it's done. It's instantaneous. So 5 minutes is very generous. You could change this. You can increase it or decrease it. It's up to you. We can leave it at 5 minutes. That's fine. And this will work with limit orders and market orders. So nothing is different there. The main difference here is that when I enable trailing for trailing stop loss, just like take profit, I am not able to use a limit order. It has to be a market order because it's constantly moving. And trailing stop loss is just as cool as trailing take profit. Watch this quick GIF and you can get yourself educated. Again, it's incredibly useful, especially when you are working with a really bullish chart that is just trending up and there's no sign of reversal. So using that trailing stop loss is so powerful there, because as your chart moves up, you don't have to worry about keep moving up your take profit price. You can just let it ride. And then when the price corrects and it falls down, you sell in a profit, done. There's no slider here for your deviation because your deviation is prescribed by your stop loss amount. So when it's set to 10%, that means that it's going to trail below my price 10%. 10% below my price, it'll be following. So that's the main difference between these two. This is just a simple on-off switch. One thing that's different here that's not available over on this side is this box for choosing your condition. Bid, ask, last. When the price of Litecoin drops down 10% and the highest bidder has set that price and they're willing to pay for it, then the stop loss will get triggered. That's the condition. The opposite for ask, meaning that the highest seller, when the highest seller is willing to pay, take that much for Litecoin, then the stop loss will be enabled. Last is waiting for the price to hit that exact price. So there's a little bit of a difference there. You can read more about this as well on the 3Commas manual, which you can find here on the left side where it says FAQ Wiki. Now that I've done that, I can click Create Trade. And here in this window, now I can type a node for myself. This is my smart sell for more USDT. Now that my trade is set and it's running and it's working, what if I want to change things? What if I want to panic sell? Well, I can panic sell here by closing at market price and just end the trade, be done. I can edit it and I can change what's happened in the trade. I can also cancel the trade. Canceling the trade does not close the trade. Canceling the trade means that I still have my one Litecoin in this case. It doesn't mean that I've sold my Litecoin for US Tether. It's not the same. So if I want to sell and be done and get my US Tether, hit close at market price and it will ask me, do I want to do this? No, I don't. I want to let it run. If I cancel, it's going to ask the same thing. Do I want to cancel? And I'll still be left with that one Litecoin. Nothing will change there. Yes, I know I've ignored a button, and that button at the top is very interesting. I can't use it to the fullest ability because I don't have enough tether right now to make use of this. So I'm sorry I don't. Actually, it says I can, maybe. I don't think I can. It doesn't look like I could use 0.0059 tether to do this. But what this means is that if I had an extra $100, I could choose how much of that $100 I want to put into an extra trade. And what this trade will do is at a set price that I establish at 72.75, I can say I want to use 50% of my available amount. And what it will do is it will save and then place failed because it's too small. But what it will do, just to show you, it will place a manual safety trade. What this does, and this is actually borrowed from the trading bots. This is really cool. What it does is that if the price falls down, it's going to apply and buy that much US Tether, that percentage of what I have of LTC, of Litecoin. What that does is by buying it originally up here or selling it originally up here and buying more here, as the price falls down and it hits that, instead of me being in the red, it's actually going to average down my entry price. And this is something called DCA, or dollar cost averaging. This is really cool, and this is going to give you a huge edge. People do this all the time with manual trading, but it's really difficult, and you have to do some math to figure out, well, I bought this much here, and now I want to buy this much here, so that means that now my average price is, you don't have to do that anymore with 3Commas, which is great. So by using this, you average down your entry price, which means that you have a lower buy price. It doesn't move down your take profit price that you set. What it means is you put on more size. So instead of it being $77, it would be $127 with that $50 extra manual safety order. And that means that my buy price won't be at 77 anymore. It will be more like 74, 73, 72, something lower. This feature is really cool because as the price moves down and you take that manual safety order, you can average down your buy price. You can put more size on the bot, which means you're going to get a better payday at the end. So that is the tour of what Smart Sell does in the trading terminal on 3Commas. This thing is nuts, right? I mean, Smart Sell is a huge asset in your trading toolbox, and it's only available through 3Commas. If you guys haven't signed up for 3Commas yet or taken it seriously, the time to act is now. If you want to up your trading game on cryptocurrency markets, you need to use 3Commas because they have the edge on trading. They're going to give you the best tools, the best gains, and the best features that you can't get anywhere else. So sign up to 3Commas today, get started, ask questions about how this works in the comments down below, or you can join their huge and growing Telegram chat channel. Telegram, of course, or you can join the Discord chat channel as well. So reach out, ask a question, ask a comment here. Enjoy Smart Sell. Stay awesome. Stay in the green. Peace.